Good afternoon, everybody. It's Tuesday, May, I think it's the 18th, yeah. I already know what day it is. Thanks for joining us. I'm Tony Pellegrino. This is part of a live tech talk we do every Tuesday and Thursday. Sorry I was absent last Thursday, but I understand my guys put on a pretty good show for you, so I think that's cool. Let's see. Of course, oh, we need a little bit of time. Yeah, okay. Maybe we can hear who's joining us, Richard. And yeah, the closer you sit to the camera, the better.
It's Tuesday, May.
As everybody knows, I just got back from almost 2,000-mile overland adventure camping trip. You know, it was super fun. I can't wait to tell you guys about it. And we are here to talk about your favorite subject and mine, Jeeping, and how to upgrade your Jeep and get your Jeep ready for all the stuff you want to do, whether it's camping or rock crawling or whatever. So good stuff, and I appreciate you guys taking the time to join us here. What do you got, Richard?
Got Ken Brandt is listening.
Nice.
Esther Parrott Newcomb.
Yeah. Okay, cool.
Stephen Warch, Terry Mode.
All right, a lot of the regulars.
GenRight
Awesome.
Dave, Sam Walker, Scott Zietler.
Thanks, everybody.
Bob Haffey, Ed Gladden.
I should have grabbed Bob and taken him with me on that last trip.
Yeah.
I got to remember all my buddies that are retired already and get them out there, have some fun.
Yeah, got quite a few. Nick Rapanich is watching.
Oh, nice. Nick was another
Nick.
one I almost called and said, hey, let's go.
Rick Harrington, Brooke Stearns, Michael Rorick, Thomas Dykstra is listening.
Nice.
Bobby Baloney,
Cool.
Austin Schroeder, Greg Mina. Whole bunch of them.
Yeah,
Greg
Austin
Pyle.
already commented on some of the pictures and stuff. It was really cool to just get out and go cross country. The nice part was I wasn't leading. All I had to do was just follow along and look out the window, you know, and take pictures. So it was pretty cool. And by the way, I think I posted 120 pictures or something, but I had thousands. I had to pare it down big time. So yeah, it was hard. And the pictures, of course, like everything, don't do it justice. So. And I got a bunch of videos too that I'll figure out a way to post, but they're cool stuff of the trip, you know. So, all right. Let's see, if you missed the last Tech Talk or any of the previous Tech Talks, you can always see them in our Facebook library, or even better yet, go over to our YouTube channel, the GenRight YouTube channel, and we've got all kinds. There's thousands of videos over there. And I think we've got a year's worth of these Tech Talks. So I know several of the people that I was on the trip with had mentioned they were watching the Tech Talks too, found it very informational, and I filled their heads with all kinds of additional information while we were there. So, because of course, I like talking about Jeeps.
Paula Lee is on the line.
Oh, awesome. She's the one that led the whole thing, the JeepnGypsy herself. So her and Mark did a fantastic job. If you guys are ever, you guys watching are ever looking to go do something like that, follow her. She's on Facebook and Instagram, and get an invite to the next trip. I think they do it once a quarter. So pretty darn cool. They cook dinner every night. So really, and even coffee in the morning, which is pretty nice. I took advantage of that several times myself. So yeah, pretty neat. Let's see what we got here. Of course, we welcome your questions and comments. All you got to do is type it right in there. Mr. Richard Garrett is here to help me himself. Mr. White Hat is here. He's looking a lot like Hulk Hogan these days. And that new hood on your Jeep looks fantastic.
Yeah.
That's the first time I've seen it all. That's a
Chris Durham.
Chris Durham hood. Yeah, that thing looks good.
Yep.
I like those scoops. So I meant to tell you that this morning. We've also got Mr. Jeff Perkins himself in here behind the camera. Alex is off doing God only knows what. We understand he broke his truck, wadded the steering up. He's probably watching right now and laughing. So we've got Jamie on the computer over there. Not sure what he's doing, but he's looking busy. So that's good. He's laughing too. All right. All you gotta just look busy. Everybody's a comedian today. All right. Featured products. Okay. So this kind of goes right in line with, sorry, got a little dusty, with the whole theme of this show, which is kind of getting ready for camping season. Scosche, one of the companies that we work with, I like their products. They've got some nice stuff. Came out with this. It's really a jump box, right? This also has a USB to charge your phone and that kind of stuff. It also has a flashlight built in, so kind of convenient. You know, you can get everything in one, and I'm always looking for those kinds of products. So they call it a jumper, flashlight, and power bank. So you can check that out. We've got them on our website, but I know they sell them, you know, in many other ways in retail. So check those out. The other thing I wanted to talk about was, you know, I use one of what they call their magic mounts to hold my phone inside the Jeep, and they sell a little kit that has the extra mounting plates. So I don't have my phone in my pocket, but basically you put the little mounting plate on the back of your phone or anything. You know, you could put it on the back of the GPS, you could put it on the back of anything you want to hold on that magnetic mount. And if you haven't heard me talk about these mag mounts before, they are great. I pre-run all of KOH with my phone on the little mount inside the Terremoto. I ran this whole trip with my phone on the dash in the JL, the Aftershock JL. And for the JL, they actually make, I think it's called Pro Clip. It's a separate plastic piece so that you're not sticking anything to your dash. It clips on over the dash, and it's strong enough to hold a GPS like this or a tablet or your phone. Really nice. Check those out too. They're on our website or on any other retailer's site, I'm sure. But another great product from Scosche. I want to talk about that. We're going to talk about GPSs and that stuff in a little while, and the lights as well. So, oh, one more thing, sitting right behind me. So my buddies from SSV stopped by. This is brand new stuff for the JL. And I don't know if I took this out yet. I don't know. But these are all upgraded speakers for the JL, which is pretty cool. So this is, if your Jeep didn't come with a subwoofer, you can get an upgraded subwoofer. This part is for the overhead speaker. So you can completely upgrade the sound bar that's already in your Jeep. I'm going to set this here while I get the little speaker out. And you put in a larger, higher performance speaker than what's in there. So this little mount you put in, and then this goes inside, and you can change these colored pieces on here to kind of dress it up. They're nice quality, good magnets. So if you get a chance, this coaxial speaker is a really nice upgrade for your JL. They also got me, I forgot to bring them over here, but speakers that mount in the back. What I liked about them was that you can turn them around. So not only do they fire forward, but if you open the back up, you can turn them around and then have music in your camp. So that's pretty cool too. So we'll talk more about that, I'm sure, after I get it all installed. Oh, that looks like the last file on here, James. So, okay. Before I get started on the rest of this stuff, I want to remind you guys, not this coming weekend, but the next Memorial Day weekend is right around the corner, believe it or not. Join us at High Desert Roundup, commonly called HDR. Available, you can sign up online, you can sign up there, whatever you want. It's only 1 hour outside of the greater LA area with 7 million people. So there's a variety of trails. There's hotels, motels right there. You can camp, kind of whatever you want to do. There's plenty of stuff, and we're going to have a large variety of trails.
I'm going to go put some pictures from this trip.
Okay.
And HDR on
Okay.
stick.
So then we can spin back and,
So,
okay.
So when you tell you
Perfect. All right. Excellent. What do you got?
Are the speakers marine grade from Eric Brady?
Yeah, they are. That's one of the nice things about SSV. Let me see what they say here. Yeah, weatherproof, right there on the box. Bing! Because they make a lot of this stuff for side-by-sides, which obviously don't have a top, and they know that Jeeps commonly run without a top. By the way, the guy that owns SSV is also a Jeep guy, so kind of nice. He was super excited to tell me about all this stuff. So we don't have this stuff on our website yet, but it will be soon. I mean, he literally just dropped it off. So
we can just put those on my Jeep if you want to.
we could, well, I'm anxious to get
test
them in
'em.
mine. So depending on what kind of a camper you are, everybody likes music, right? So, and I used my Scosche boom bottle a lot on this last trip, which is in the Jeep somewhere, I'm sure. I'm going to walk around and show you guys a bunch of stuff on the Jeep that, yeah, so we'll find it sooner or later. Let's see. So Jamie's putting some more slides on. We already talked about, if you got any questions, type them in. And by the way, if we don't talk about something here on the show, feel free to direct message me with subjects that you'd like me to talk about. Feel free to call in. Everybody's still across the street for another hour. Everybody there's a Jeeper. Call in, ask your questions. They're happy to help out. And if you haven't been over to our website, you're doing yourself a disservice because there's a ton of information over there, including a gallery for all these different Jeeps that we're talking about, that you see from GenRight and our customer builds. So you can go through and check out pictures and see what the specs are. So a lot of good information there. And then like I told you before, you can go over to YouTube and find all kinds of installation videos, wheeling videos, all kinds of stuff. So including previous tech talks. All right, any more questions right this second? Nope, okay. So as you know, Memorial Day's almost here. That means summer, right? Everybody's getting ready to go wheeling, camping, whatever. And it's all about getting your stuff ready. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna talk about several things that can be important depending on where you're going about your trip. I'm gonna skip since we're over on this side right now. The first thing that everybody does when you get out is you air down, right? So you're gonna need something simple. These are inexpensive little things that you screw on to your valve stem and it just lets the air out. These do not stop by themselves, so you need to monitor it. And it comes with several of them and they just screw together, so it's real easy to keep track of. You can put them on your key ring or whatever. You get the tires down to about where you think, you're gonna need a gauge. So I bought one that has a little memory thing so it'll hold the pressure and then you can reset it. Important that you get one that goes down to the pressure or below the pressure you want to go to, so it's somewhat accurate. A lot of the time they're called a low pressure gauge and you'll find them at the auto parts store. One of the other things that I brought along, this is made by Dual. This is a GPS antenna. And what this does is it generates its own Wi-Fi signal. So you can use a tablet or another device. You just put this up. I use Velcro. You just put it up on the roof. This little guy will then talk to up to 5 devices at the same time. So it really, when you don't have cell service, when you're out in the middle of nowhere, this is going to be what helps you to still use guidance, unless you have something like this. So this is the Magellan GPS. It's built off of the Android tablet and put into a ruggedized case. It does have like a ball ram mount on the back. I use this the entire time. This is preloaded. By the way, this one's called the TRX7, and we do have these on our website, and they're available all over the place. This one has a built-in camera so that when I get to a trailhead or a spot on the trail, I can add pictures to the memory in this, and then I can share those files with my friends. So then they can go, when they pull up to the trailhead, look at the picture, yep, this looks like the right trail, go ahead. You can also make notes about, did I need 4 low, how deep was the sand, the snow, the mud, whatever. It's pretty cool. And this is preloaded with all the US Forest Service and BLM trails in it. So not only do you have streets and stuff, it's got tons of information. And we actually found that pretty handy on the way home. The freeway stopped up because there was an accident, and you can look right around, go, hey, there's a trail right there, get off the freeway, hit the trail, get around it, and get back on. So pretty handy. The other thing that I wanted to talk about was, oh, you got some questions. Go for it.
Just got a quickie, kind of off topic since you're talking about the
Sure,
pressure
GPS.
gauges.
Oh, yeah.
John Miller wants to know race pressures. Do you change them or decrease them when you're going into the hammer section?
No, so that's a great question, and I think tire pressure as a whole is completely misunderstood by everybody that I've ever met, right? So first off, when you decide to air down, you need to pick a pressure and stick with it, okay? Because what happens is your vehicle is going to feel different. So if you always air down to 8, then go to 8. Don't stop anywhere in between, because it's going to behave differently, right? If you stay at 15. So just decide on a pressure and stay there. We had a long conversation about this out when I was out wheeling this time. For racing, we go with a much higher tire pressure, and that is so that if we hit something like a rock, that it doesn't just plow through the tire and ding the rim. So you're looking for kind of a different component. That's also why we run a sticky tire, is because you're not aired down, so you need the tread, the rubber compound, to do the work. So hopefully that answers the question.
Corey Picard, and I believe he's talking about the Nav System.
Sure.
Is that on your site?
This is. Yeah, these are on our website. There's actually several different versions of these. I think they start at $299 and go all the way up to $549, which I think is where this one's at. And by the way, when you buy one of these, you can also download the Magellan app. So say I'm riding with Richard or Jeff that day in their Jeep, I can turn on the app, it'll record the whole path that we just did, and then later on I can download it to my GPS and still have it just as if I ran it myself. So there's some cool features to it that, once you get on there, and as far as GenRight goes, I publish everything we do is public. So once you're on and you've got one of these things, you can go over to the GenRight group and get the files and stuff. But there's a ton of stuff on here. So, because we run a lot of trails forwards, backwards, so I'm always marking the beginning, the end, so you can tell which way the trail runs normally. So GPS is probably a whole nother topic. And there's a lot of stuff. I don't have my phone on me, but there's another app called Gaia, Gaia. And that's a good one too. So if you don't have something like this, you can use your cell phone, and it communicates on GPS only. So you don't need cell service, you don't need any of that stuff. And that's a good one too. You can save those paths, you can share them. That saves them as a very common, what's called a GPX file. So you can share those, and you can also download GPX files if you're going to an area and get some different trails and information yourself. So great questions.
So Thomas Dykstra says he just destroyed a wheel in Mexico while he was racing. He was at 10 PSI.
Oh yeah, see, that's super low. So, especially in a 4400 class car, you're at 25 or 30 easy. And by the way, we don't change those pressures either. Once you, again, pick a pressure, you shock tune to that pressure. So if you start jacking around with the pressure, you're going to totally throw off the shock tune. So that's all of that is super important to work on. Now, typically all of us, when we go off-road, regular wheelers, we're not going fast. So when you air down to 8 pounds, you're just cruising around, and it doesn't really matter what your shock tune is. So there you go.
Michael Brandstetter, are your paths available on Gaia?
I don't publish those anywhere, but not that I couldn't. I know Jamie's trying to put together a whole portal of information, because I've got all these checklists and all this stuff that I want to make available to our viewers. So maybe I could put some of those trails and stuff on there, because I did both Magellan and Gaia this trip, so I had the whole thing down, which is pretty cool because it shows you length of time, average speed, elevation gain, length of time, all that stuff. So there's a lot of information on there. Cool. All right, so we're gonna keep going. So next thing I had on my list, when you go on the trail, once you air down, make sure your winch controller is ready and available, along with your D-rings. They need to be on your bumper, not somewhere in your Jeep, okay? Because look, what happens is somebody gets in trouble, right? And I don't know about you, but I'd like to get them out of trouble as fast as possible and continue on our trip. Okay, so just make sure you have this stuff ready. We had somebody get stuck while we were out there, and all my stuff was ready. I quickly pulled up, hooked them, and we had them out in 15, 20 seconds, and we were done. So everybody else was still scrambling for their stuff, and it's like, come on. So you can be a hero. Doesn't take much. Just have it ready. I keep this right in the center console or the glove box, so it's right there and ready. Yep.
Back to tire pressure. Bobby below me.
Yeah.
Speaking of tire pressure, running 35-inch Baja Boss tires, and they seem to be riding only on the outside of the tread. Is that too low?
That's too low. Yeah, then you're going to want to go up on the pressure. Try like 5-pound increments until you can see that run pretty even. I know in the past we've talked about, typically if I'm just running around town here, I air mine up to like 25 pounds and, I don't think much of it. I did on this trip, I went up 5 more pounds because I was driving I drove for like 11 hours straight, right? So I just went up to 30 pounds on a 40-inch tire, which is more than enough just to get some extra mileage and stuff. So, and by the way, that's another thing I don't even have on my list that you need to pay attention to is what is your overall fuel economy, especially knowing it off-road. We had to go a minimum of 150 miles in between gas stops. So if you can't make it, if you don't know what your vehicle will do for sure, then you need to carry extra gas. So an important thing, like check it before you go, like know what it gets before you go. All right. Okay, let's spin around and look at the Jeep. I want to talk about some of that stuff. Actually, Jeff, let's start here before we spin all the way around. And this was my first chance to test out my Goal Zero solar panel and my little box. So this box has a lithium battery built into it, and it's also got an inverter built into it, right? So it's got 12 volts, it's got all the USB-C stuff, and 120 volts, and I think this is a 1,000-watt inverter. So pretty nice. It gives you the stats on where everything's at. And right now, I've got it plugged into the solar, so it's charging, but it can also plug into your Jeep. So you can do it on 12 volts or 120 volts if you have an inverter built into your Jeep like the JL or JK does. And this worked out great for the whole trip. Very compact. You can see how small it is. So easy to fit in when you're trying to pack small and light, right? Jeeps don't necessarily have a lot of extra room. So kind of nice. All right. So we'll spin the rest of the way. And I want to talk a little bit about some of this stuff. I'm going to open it up and we're going to talk about all kinds of things. Packing. So an important thing about packing. There are things when you pack that you do not want on the inside of your Jeep. You don't want gasoline. You don't want your little porta potty. You don't want firewood. You don't want all these things that might have bugs or whatever in them. So there's several, even my trash, right? And I've got my solar shower out here that I just put on the back, so that way while I'm driving, it's heating up, right? So this little rack that goes inside of our tire carrier works out really good to keep the not so pretty stuff on the outside. And I can tell you, everybody that was on our trip saw this, they loved it. It gives you that extra room and helps with just getting those things outside your vehicle. Now, this rack easily holds up to 150 pounds. So you think about a spare tire, it's about 150, 175. So no problem there, it's plenty capable. And you also notice that we made, this part of our tire carrier is to relocate the license plate, the third brake light, and the camera all to the back. So all of those things are important, and doing that, yeah.
Don Cars, 2010 JKU. What size inverter would I need to charge the Yeti?
So it doesn't take very much. Mine built in is 150 watts, and I ran my ARB and the Yeti. You know, I was charging the Yeti and running the ARB. Both worked fine because the Yeti takes about 65 watts to charge and the ARB takes about 65 watts to run. So you're well within the 150 watts. So yeah, it really worked out good. I even ran my race radio as well because I had a 110 plug-in for that. So yeah, you can do, great question. You can do pretty good on this stuff. All right. The next thing I wanted to talk about was, you know, I showed you guys I got these bins. I got these from Home Depot, right? They're convenient. They, you know, they nest really nice, right? Like even the little ones stack on, or you could stack the bigger ones on each other. I was showing you last time that they have a nice seal inside, and this is a polycarbonate top on it. So, you know, they're really nice and everything stacks good inside the vehicle. They don't lock together, but I can also tell you that I didn't tie any of this stuff down and nothing moved around. It worked out really good. So I was happy with that. And based on that, I would recommend these things because that worked out good. I have a separate little box, right? Ammo can. This is a plastic one though, that I carry important cords. You know, so there's a few things. I've got a couple of these that like I'll put my DeWalt batteries and some other things that I don't want wet. Like under any condition, you know, if somebody sticks them somewhere or rains or whatever the deal is, I want that stuff dry. One of them is all my specialty cords. So anything, you know, whether it's from a Magellan or that little GPS antenna I showed you or my iPhone or whatever, all those cords go inside here. So, you know, I've even got, like, here's the thing for the race radio. I've got a multiplier. There's another cord for the ARB fridge in here. So, you know, you just, that way I have one location that I go find all that stuff. So I just wanted to give you that tip. I've got my food in one of these. I've got some tools. The bottom one definitely has tools in it. And then this is the one that I was showing you guys that has all my lights, right? So I was showing you, you know, all my different LED lights and stuff that I was kind of experimenting with. What I can tell you is this was the winner. This wireless solar powered light was hands down the winner, and I'll show you why right now. So take that out. So that little light just clips right on up here, and you've got all the light you need. And I had two of those. Actually, I had a bunch of them, but when we were camped, I just used two, and it lit up everything. Even Val, I guess they go on and off with the sun up, sun down. And Val looked out one night because my tent was right over here, and she's like, "Tony's having a party over there. It's all lit up, you know, really nice." So when we were out, I also had some that clipped on the side. So you know, these are those lights that I was telling you were like $9.99 from Hampton Bay at Home Depot, and they're just super easy. And during the day, I actually just clipped them on my windshield wipers so they were dead in the sun charging, and made it really easy. So those, you know, I found that this light, although it's like really cool, right? It's darn bright. Like you can't even look over that direction when you're out camping. You don't need a ton of light when you're out camping. And you know, this was one where I just made up a little thing where you could like clamp it on. So if you needed a lot of light, and I put a long cord on it. So, you know, it's nice to have those things, but once you're camping, you really don't need a ton of light. So I just wanted to remind you guys of that. And then of course, you know, I had the traditional little lantern, you know, that kind of stuff too, to put in my tent. So any questions on that stuff, Richard? Okay. All right. So my next topic is this. When you're packing, I want you to pay attention to where the weight is. Okay, so sometimes you don't have a lot of choice, right? And everything you have is heavy, and you just got to kind of get it in there. Well, I pay special attention. So what I did was this stuff here is not very heavy. It's relatively light, and that's the stuff that goes way in the back. The stuff that's a little heavier goes more toward the middle of the vehicle. And then I use one of our cargo racks to divide up the space and make better use of it. So, you know, in the cargo rack, I've got my pillow, I got my raft, I've got my tripod, I got a little table. You know, you just kind of put the lighter stuff up there, and then you don't have to worry about it. And then, of course, I've got my tow strap handy and another little table right here. So, you know, then I've got my clothes bags and my sleeping bags and stuff are all in the middle, as well as these bins as well. So, all right. So I want you to think about, do not put anything on the roof unless you absolutely have to. I know some people that are traveling with 4 people and then all the camping gear. Man, I'm telling you, get it on the back before you put it on the roof. Okay, the roof is your last resort. All right, because it's going to change the way your vehicle drives radically. All right. So we talked a little bit about storing things inside and storing things outside the vehicle, and the reasons that you'd want to do that. You know, if you're carrying a gas can, a generator, the potty, your trash, firewood, you don't want any of that stuff on the inside of your Jeep. I had a note here to mention anything that I brought that I did not use. I think I used everything that I brought. So sometimes, and that's part of what I'm doing right now, is slimming down the amount of stuff I bring because we've got more camping trips coming and I don't want to bring extra stuff. What do you got?
Jacob Crystal asked, did you have to remove the fridge to access anything?
Yeah, so you do have to slide the fridge out in order to open the lid. So that is one of those things. So some people I noticed, they were putting the fridge right here in the side door, and then that way they didn't have to do anything but just open the door and access their fridge. So it just kind of depends. And I should mention, I kind of set up all my camping stuff in here so that if the weather got bad, rain, wind, whatever, all I got to do is slide these bins out, put them on the front seat, and I can sleep in here. So I'm always thinking ahead, you know, to have a plan, right? So I've already been there. So, you know, or, you know, maybe you got to stop somewhere like a truck stop or something, and you don't want to, you know, have everything out. You can just slide inside and go to sleep. So, all right. Of course, I brought plenty of tools. We didn't need to use any of them. I did drag out the impact at one point to help somebody else, but it didn't even fit underneath their Jeep, so we ended up just using a long breaker bar. There was one person that lost a rear drive shaft. It just wore out and broke. So fortunately, they had some spare parts, and we're able to cobble something together and keep going. So what else?
Kelly Sims wants to know what size and model is the fridge.
All I know is this is the smallest one. It's their, I think they call it the 37 liter. I don't know. It's the tiny one. Yeah, and it's great. It uses very little power. You actually have I don't know if you can see this, Jeff, but right now I have it in low power mode. There's a medium and a high. So depending on, you know, how fast you're trying to cool it, or if you just threw a bunch of stuff in. But just like an ice chest, you want to pre-cool the stuff if you can before you put it in here. And you know, look, what I do is when I take a drink out, I put a new warm drink back in, right? So you're just kind of constantly replenishing it. I'll tell you, it was awesome having this thing on the trip because other people, when we stopped for gas, were having to buy bags and bags of ice, dump out their chest, you know, put the ice in. This was super handy. Didn't do anything the whole time, ran the whole time perfect, and that worked out great. I never took this out of the Jeep. I only slid it out, grabbed what I needed, and shoved it back. So it wasn't like I set it on the ground or anything. And I just left enough slack in the cord to be able to take it in and out. So that worked out good. But there's this will freeze stuff, and I just have it set at 32 degrees right now, and that's where it's at. So, but you can drop it lower than that. More questions? Okay. All right. We talked about lights, go solar. Those were freaking awesome. Just the fact that then I didn't have to deal with any cords. And by the way, you can pick them up and move them to wherever you are. I want you to think about this, because this is something that happened to me. Each night when we got into a camp, I had to work out of a different side of the vehicle. So the first night I was on this side. The next night I was out of the back. The next night I was on that side. So, you know, if you get your Jeep all set, you know, with things that you've hard mounted, you might be sorely disappointed. So just having things that clip on or can move makes a lot of sense. I also brought an umbrella. That was one of the pictures I posted. So that when I was working out of the back of the Jeep, you know, it was late in the day, I was just able to put the umbrella back here, had lots of shade, it worked out perfect. So umbrellas are nice, and you can even take it over to your chair if you're sitting, you know, with a bunch of people and then you're not in the direct sun. It was super hot out there, I can tell you that. We talked about navigation, especially without cell service. You know, we get so used to our phone doing everything, and then all of a sudden you don't have, you know, Google Maps because you don't have cell service. It's a kind of a rude awakening. So, and you can't just like, where's the nearest gas? Well, yeah, sorry, no service. And I mean like no service for days. So you really got to be heads up on that stuff. Bring some paper maps. Like have a freaking backup. You know, when all this stuff goes sideways, but you should at least have the auto club, like, you know, help, where am I? What's near Hanksville, you know? So, and by the way, I did carry, let me grab it. This little guy, this is made by Garmin and it's called InReach. There are other items out there on the market, but this gives somebody else, like my wife, who's not with me, the ability to track me. And in addition to being able to track where I'm at, it updates like every minute. I can text from it anywhere via GPS satellite. So you don't rely on cell service. Now, it's not fast. You're not having a conversation. This is more like, we made it to camp and we're safe. Or we did roll it, but we're still alive. Or whatever that looks like. So, or send help.
Not good.
There is an SOS button that is like, you know, going to send the cavalry. So you don't want to hit that by accident. Awesome little thing, inexpensive to use and run, good backup, especially if you do a lot of exploring in small groups or by yourself. Okay, so definitely check that out. They're available online. You can get them at like Cabela's and all the sportsman places. So comes with a nice little D-ring on it. And it has a clippy thing on the back too, so you can put it on your belt or clip it on something on your dash. Okay, so I meant to tell you about that. We, on this trip, primarily used race radios. We were together quite tight and used the handheld version. That worked out fine. So, you know, definitely think about how you're going to communicate with your group. If you're joining a group that you don't normally run with, you need to find out what radio they're using. Are they on CBs? Are they on GRMS? Are they on race radio? So don't be that guy that's like the only one that can't talk, because chances are they're going to be talking about you. So, right, Jeff? Don't we always talk smack about the guy that can't talk back? Never. Just kidding. Okay, next thing I want to talk about is trail etiquette. When you travel with the group, you need to use caravan rules, okay? I know it's super easy to get focused out the windshield and forget about the guy behind you, but you need to keep an eye on those folks and make sure that everybody's still there. Richard's laughing. Yeah. So, you know, once you start getting a big group, you know, if you get separated like that and people start missing turns, that can radically throw, like for us, we were going 200 miles a day. So, you know, we needed to stay on track. We didn't have time to lose. We you know, we wanted to have a nice trip, but we certainly didn't have time to loop back and get somebody or find them or try and find them. Not only that, but waste the gas. Okay, so these are all important things. And remember, the people coming uphill have the right of way. So if you get in a situation where you have oncoming traffic, remember, they're the one with the right of way. Okay, just be polite, pull over, and let them or their group by. Okay. All right. Next thing I want to talk about, and I'm sure this has never crossed your mind, going fast through rivers. Don't be that guy. Okay, you're not 16 anymore. and you don't need to make a big wave show. What you're going to do is you're going to suck water into your air intake, and you're going to lock up your motor. Or, I know you've never thought of this, you've just been out wheeling for hours and hours. Your differentials are 250 degrees. When you cool them to 60 degrees like the water is, you know what happens? It sucks in air, a lot of air. And if the air isn't clear, like you just splashed a bunch of water, it's gonna suck water. So don't be that guy, okay? Because then you're just gonna trash it. So just go through the river like a normal human being, get to the other side, and don't suck a bunch of water into your differential. And if you are that guy, change your fluid the moment you get back, okay? Because otherwise you're just gonna wreck that.
Paula would like to know, what was your favorite camp night?
Oh. I mean, they were all great. So the first night we were camped like in this canyon where Butch Cassidy ran away from the authorities. So that was, and we were like right next to this big rock face where the firelight lit it up all night. That was totally cool. And we got into that camp while it was still light, so we had a chance to kind of set up. So that was nice. It was on the sand. The next night we were on rock, and it was very nice. It was wide open. You know, we had just covered hundreds of miles that day, and everybody had a little bit more room in that camp, so we were spread out a little bit more. But there was always a community fire, which is pretty cool. And the last night we were on Lake Powell, so that was, of course, really nice. Right next to the water, you could hear the little waves lapping and stuff, and everybody went swimming, so that was pretty cool too. So hard to say there was one favorite. They were all quite nice. So, all right. We talked about recovery. Have your stuff ready. I don't want to see that stuff tucked away and you're digging around for it. Meantime, the other guy's like sliding off a cliff or sinking deeper into the mud or whatever the situation is. Next, let's talk about how fast you can go in low range. So this was a topic. I looked in the book that came with my Jeep, which I know one came with yours too. Or you can, you know, these days just Google it online, your whatever Jeep you have. 25 miles an hour is the top speed when you're in low range in this vehicle. It will go faster. It'll go 40, okay? But they say don't go over 25. I was actually hoping to have a transfer case here opened up so you could see what it looks like. Inside the transfer case, there's a ring about this big, and inside that ring are 4 or 5 little, what they call planetary gears that run around inside this. That's what gives you the gear reduction. Those little gears have little tiny bearings inside. So if you spin those things, you know, if you're going fast, those things are like going subsonic speed. And let me tell you, they don't last long at that. They just come apart. And by the way, they come apart when you really don't want them to come apart, like you're in a bad situation. So, yep.
The book that came with Terremoto, how fast did it drive in 4
So the Terremoto, I know for a fact, can go 70 and low. So, and you know, keep in mind, I've got some industry connections and I well maintain my stuff. So if it blows up, it's on me. All right. Yeah. Good question though. General rule is 25 miles an hour in low range. If you need to go faster, by the way, once you get to 25, that's usually the equivalent of first gear in high range. So just go back to high range and everything's not working as hard. Okay. Any questions on that, Richard?
No, but yeah, go ahead.
Okay. Man, the crowd is quiet tonight.
If you're between high and low, though, you probably need to keep temperatures, though, don't you?
You do. So low range is going to be much easier on the engine. The engine has to work 1/4 as hard, right? It's geared down, right? It's doing no work, honestly. So you're going to want to watch that. And my next topic here is heat, right? So we're coming into warmer temperatures. You've been on the trail. Things are dusty. You know, these are all things that you need to keep in mind when you're out there wheeling around. So let's talk about that. So readily available, we use Griffin here at GenRight. are aluminum radiators. It's a more efficient radiator, and we've got them on our website. You can check it out, and there's plenty available through all the different outlets on the internet. But you want an aluminum radiator with a good fan shroud, a good fan. You want like a Spall, something name brand. Don't get some cheap Chinese knockoff. And if that doesn't do it, then you want to add hood louvers. You want to put some vents in your inner fender wells. There's other ways to get heat out of the engine compartment. So, but keep an eye on that. It's important. And you know, a lot of people stack stuff in front of the radiator. You know, most people put a winch in front of it. They've got big lights. You know, don't be that guy. Make sure that radiator's got good, clean airflow. The other thing that Jamie and I talked about on his is, you know, when you put in an aftermarket radiator, a lot of the time the factory like rubber shrouding inside there goes away, and the air can just slip by the radiator. You want to make sure that whatever comes in that grill is forced through that radiator. So just make sure you don't have any big openings around the side where the air can take the path of least resistance, okay? So these are all simple little things that they're just, you know, help drop it 15, 20 degrees, and a lot of time that's all the difference. Because, you know, look, your Jeep probably has a thermostat in it that makes it run at 195, 200. So, you know, you start getting 220, you're getting on the edge of being too hot. So you really want to be able to keep everything down as close to 200 as you can. Okay. Let's see. Have we got any other questions, Richard? How are we doing on questions?
No, not yet.
We're doing great on questions. How are we doing on time?
We're doing good.
All right, we got 10 minutes left. If you guys have any questions, I want you to fire them in, because I've pretty much covered everything I want. While we're waiting for more questions, I want to remind everybody to sign up for our newsletter. It's on our website. Down at the bottom, you just go to the homepage, scroll down, you can sign up for that. If you're not familiar with our website, check it out. We got a great search box on there. You can type in the part number, the description, whatever you want, and it'll take you right there. You can also shop by vehicle. So if you've got a JL, you want to see all the products that we offer for the JL, you can go in there, look at accessories, main parts, bumpers, suspension, tire carriers, all that stuff's listed. So we make that pretty easy for you. If you like this program, GenRight, please share, like, you know, do everything you can to help more people be able to enjoy something like this. And as always, if you don't see on our website or hear me talk about
Wi-Fi?
something you're interested in, just call in. I've got
I've never
plenty
had
of
to use
people over
Wi-Fi
there
before.
ready to take your call. So important aspect of it as well. James, did I have pictures I can go through on the monitor now?
Yeah.
All right, let's do that.
There's a couple pictures from your trip, and then it's a couple pictures of HDR.
Okay, cool. Let's
I don't
do
know.
that.
I didn't know what you were going to talk about.
That's
about
fine,
that
yeah.
trip,
So basically, we're looking at what we were just looking at over there. This is Paula JeepnGypsies LJ, all fixed up. It's got big axles, 40-inch Mickey Thompsons. She runs Raceline wheels. She's got a Terraflex suspension, Terraflex axles, King shocks. Otherwise, everything's GenRight. Cage, aluminum roof, the whole 9 yards. Pretty cool. Here we are. This is first night's camp. So we were just talking about those camps. This is that canyon I was talking about. And there you can see the umbrella I was talking about as well. I've got my firewood in, and, you know, here's my trash bag hanging off the back. Everything gets dusty. You know, you're off-roading, so be prepared for that. Here's second night's camp. This is that more flat one I was talking about. You had nice views out there. You can see I set up my solar that I was just showing you a minute ago up on the roof. And I have my little charge box inside. You can see my fridge in there, but I pulled out my bins and I got my tables and my tent set up and everything. So I had some visitors come over and were talking to me. But yeah, pretty nice. This was a little spot we found where we could flex out the Jeep, which was kind of fun. The Aftershock is kind of an unassuming looking Jeep with those factory style fenders on them, but it is all go underneath. Why don't I say it'll definitely flex out and work. Okay, High Desert Roundup. I told you guys about this. This is coming, not this coming weekend, but next. Please come and join us. We're going to be out there. I don't know, we'll probably have 20 GenRight vehicles out there having fun. So come join us, wheel around. By the way, we run stuff on Friday and Saturday, and Sunday is Jeep games. They're super fun. You can score points, and by the way, this is all a fundraiser for Cal 4-Wheel and to help keep our trails open. So I encourage you not only to come and have fun and wheel with us, but support raising money. What do you got?
Eric Brady, does the basket also fit in the tire carrier for the JKs?
It does, yes. So that tire carrier, by the way, is the same tire carrier for a TJ, an LJ, a JK, and the JL. So, and we make that tire carrier in aluminum and steel, and that what we call our small cargo tray fits right in there. So now the small cargo tray can also be mounted in the back of the Jeep. So say you don't want the big one to take up all the space back there, you can still separate the levels inside your Jeep and at least get your duffel bags and pillows and stuff up high in the small cargo tray. Yep.
Clarence Taylor wants to know, what off-road jack did you take?
This one, I took a bottle jack. Yep.
Paul Kulik, looking to do an elite build on my 16 JKU in about a year or two. What radiator do you recommend, and can I buy it now and install it so I don't have to buy it when I do the build?
Yeah, absolutely. If you're going to keep the factory engine, we have it on our website under Griffin. You can just type in Griffin in the search box. There's several radiators available. Make sure you don't choose the one that's for a V8. They look very similar. Get the one that is for the factory engine. It's all aluminum, comes with the fans, and ties right into everything you have. But yes, absolutely, that is an upgrade you can make right now. So, and you know, typically, just to give you an idea, a radiator with fans is going to be about $1,000. So don't get sticker shock. It's just the way it is. So, what else you got? We're doing good. Okay. Let's see. Right after High Desert Roundup, if I have the slide.
There's pictures of High Desert Roundup after.
Oh, there is. Oh, okay. So, this is just some of the fun we have out there. You know, when we're all done wheeling and ready to come back to camp, we've done some tire stacking. You can see we got our fire pit here. We welcome everybody, and usually we have cornhole, you know, beanbag toss games going, and horseshoes, and we've got music and all kinds of fun. So this is back when the Terremoto was yellow. That's Kelly's. Or, yeah, that's Kelly's, right? The yellow jacket. So, yeah, just lots of fun. And like I say, come join us. It's a great area. It's just outside of Barstow at the /X Rancher Cafe. And it's right off the 247 highway and super easy to find. So not far. For most people, it's an hour or two from their house if you live in the greater Los Angeles area. Let's see, here's one of our trails that we normally run. Camp would be way out there, and this is one of the ones that we ran up. Super fun. You can see there's good sized rocks, lots of traction. So I'm sure we'll do this again on Friday. And this is not Pumpkin Eater. Okay, here's our, we host a game, GenRight does, called the Wet Lap. And it's a game where the passenger holds a bowl of water, and you have to try and get around a little course that we've made go through the hills. And it's typically like a 2-minute course, it's not long. But whoever comes back with the most water in the best time wins. So we keep, we have a men's, women's, UTVs, Jeeps, you know, manual, auto. Yeah, we've got all kinds of classes. And High Desert Roundup staff hands out awards and stuff afterward.
All the money goes
to land use, yeah. So all the money, I think we charge $1 or $2 for each lap. And then, you know, that all goes to support our cause to keep everything open. But you can see it's a pretty cool area out there. All kinds of dirt and rock out there, so kind of fun. Let's see what else we got. Oh, and then of course, if you like what we see. But I should mention that immediately following that, we're going out to Grand Junction for Rock Junction. So there's another event right after that over in Colorado. So if you can't make it all the way to California to come join us, there's a spot kind of halfway across. So, all right, more questions? We're doing good. Okay, so let's see. Thursday, 2 days from now, I've got Joe Biro from Vision X will be here in the studio with us talking about LED lights, all kinds of LED lights for your Jeep, headlights, running lights, you know, everything, rock lights. And he is an expert. Be prepared with all your lighting questions. And I'm sure he's going to have a bunch of samples to show. And I'm looking forward to having him here. But that'll be another tech talk that you won't want to miss. So
When is this?
2 days from now.
Okay, this Thursday.
Thursday. Yep. So, all right. If that's it, please go over and check out our. We're also on Instagram, but check out our YouTube. So lots of stuff over there. Tons and tons of videos. Thousands. So, all right. That's all we got. Thanks for joining us, and we look forward to seeing you on Thursday.